Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the McShin Foundation's award-winning recovery podcast, Get in the Herd. My name is Nathan Mitchell. I'm a person in recovery. I'm also outreach director here at the McShin Foundation. Today, we have in our studio Nick Morse. He is a participant here who comes to us from Maine, way up there. And so what we thought we'd do today as Nick gets ready to go back to Maine tomorrow, we've brought with us onto the show today two people who are participating in the Maine Recovery Advocacy Project. So the cool thing about that is I do the Virginia Recovery Advocacy Project. So we're siblings here, and I love having you. So I would like to welcome Courtney Allen and Marshall Mercer to the show today. Welcome, guys. What brings you on today, other than me asking you?
Well,
How about this? Tell us how you got involved with the Recovery Advocacy Project.
Go ahead, Courtney.
All right, cool. Hey, everybody. My name's Courtney Allen. I organize with the Maine Recovery Advocacy Project. I am also a person in long-term recovery. And for me, that means that today I have the honor and privilege of being a mother to my children. I've been in recovery since November 6th of 2015. That is my abstinence date. I also have a recovery date that I honor in my pathway is February 8th of 2015. It was the first day that I sought recovery on my own accord, and the first day that I started to change my lifestyle. So I believe that recovery is any process of change. And so how did I get involved in the Maine Recovery Advocacy Project? That's quite a loaded question. So I grew up in a family deeply affected by poverty, substance use, and trauma. No member of my family has ever been involved in politics or organizing. The neighborhood that I grew up in, I don't remember a politician ever knocking on my door during election season. It's just not where I come from. And so when I was in early recovery, probably a couple years into recovery, I had a friend who was organizing around recovery-friendly policies in the state of Maine. And he sent me a text message or a Facebook message, something like that, and said, "Hey, Courtney, do you want to come to a public hearing and testify at a public hearing?" At that point in my life, I was like, what is a public hearing? I have no idea what you're talking about. But recovery had taught me to say yes and to show up. And so is what I did. So I went to that public hearing with my friends, a couple of my friends, and we testified on the hearing, and that bill ended up passing. Am I frozen?
Yeah.
Sorry about the little bit of their technical glitch there, but and I think we just got. I'm not sure Courtney, are you there? Well, Marshall, what got you involved with the Recovery Advocacy Project? How did you find your way into recovery? And share with us, if you don't mind, a little bit of your story.
Yeah, really advocacy work as far as policy level, Courtney got me involved with that. Kind of the same thing with what she just said with her friend. She asked me to come help her one time. I went down to speak at one of her YPR meetings, and she asked me to come phone bank with her one time. And I'm like, I have no clue what that is. She said, "Don't worry about it. I don't either." I'm like, "But aren't we banking for you?" You know what I mean? So it's like, so that was my whole experience. And I didn't really even do a great job, but she always told me how good I did. So I was like, all right, cool. Thank you. Months later, she asked me if I wanted to try some advocacy work. And I'm just like, I don't know nothing about it, but why not? And it happened, but before that, my life was just a whole different, right? So all I've ever known since I was a kid was drugs, gangs, just a whole different lifestyle. So I had this chip on my shoulder growing up because of things that I didn't have growing up. So that anger I poured out on everything around me. So you know how it goes, you're mad at everything and you just fueled by hate and pain. So I sold drugs because my mother was an addict, and I hated people that was addicted because I figured it was crazy. And then I became addicted for the first time, right? So I didn't know nothing about why my mother was never there, what my anger was. But when I found my best friend dead in my apartment, It changed for me. I didn't even realize my friend who was with me, one of the things that we did was even using, and I found him dead. Anyways, that sent me down a life of using drugs. And needless to say, once I got into heroin, within a year later, I died several times and I ended up in prison. And that's how I got to Machias on a prison bus. And yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, that's a great story, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. Today, we brought with us Nick Morse to the show. He comes to us from Maine. Are you from Augusta?
No, I'm right from Columbia Falls, actually,
Okay.
which is real close to Machias.
Yeah, isn't that crazy, right? It's crazy the connection here, because so what we did was we knew that Nick was leaving us here at McShin, and he was going to go back to Maine after completing the 28-day program. Tell us. Maine is kind of far away from Richmond, Virginia. Tell us what brought you down here. How did you get here?
Well, Project Hope in Ellsworth. I reached out to them finally. I went down. I talked to Marshall about some stuff, and after that, my life really kind of spiraled the last few weeks, and I knew that I needed to get out of the state, go somewhere. I mean, there's not a lot of options in the state really for rehabs. I mean, they either full like 30 grand to go for a month or whatever like that. There's a lot of, and I talked to Paul from Arise, which is right down east there. And he suggested that I go out of state as well. So I went to Project Hope, and they called down here and worked with Joyce, and they got me down here. I had actually gone to jail. I already had this set up. I got sent to jail, and they got me out at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was here at 8 o'clock at night. So,
wow. Did you fly down here alone?
Yeah.
Wow. So the process, they took you to the airport, put you on a plane.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a layover somewhere too?
Yep.
Yep.
Atlanta.
And it's God's waiting room, I think, for planes.
I mean, I wanted to be here, so.
Yeah, but the thing is that, taking that step alone, after getting, the care that you needed up in Maine, but also coming down here, that's a really significant step. And even stopping in Atlanta, for how long were you there? What, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours?
An hour and something.
Yeah. I mean, even having that time where, at any moment we can make a decision, you know what? F this, I don't want to do that. I'm out.
Yeah.
You stuck with it and you came down here, and I know you came down here with the mindset of completing the 28-day program and going. Some of our participants who come from Maine, and we've had dozens or scores over the last. Yeah, good to have you back, Courtney. Sorry about the little technical thing there. But getting back, and some people have stayed. What is it? 207 is the area code up there.
Yep.
Yeah, I have a few people in my phone with 207 area code now, which I think somewhere down the road, 20 or 30 years, there's a book that can be written about that, because I love Operation Hope. Project Hope is it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Where they send people down here. So, Courtney, you were sharing a little bit of your story and what got you in the Maine Recovery Advocacy Project, and we got cut off there, but I think where we left off. I don't know where we were when we left off. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm sorry about my internet connection. That's one of the things about Maine. We don't have very good internet connection. But it is what it is. So I'm back. Hi, everybody, again. I think where I left off was how I got involved in advocacy in general. So my friend sent me that text message, wanted me to go up to the public hearing. I went up, had no idea what I was doing. But I showed up, and that law ended up passing. It was a Narcan, allowed distribution of Narcan in the state of Maine. But more so what that experience did was it lit a fire inside of me, because I knew that I had always wanted to help people who use drugs and people who are in or seeking recovery. And at the time I was in school to become a drug counselor, which I ended up doing. But I learned along in that process is that help comes in many forms, and that the barriers that our folks face are so deeply ingrained into our systems of government, and into our policies and our practices and our laws, at every level of government. And so I found what I believe is a calling in an effort to change many of the laws and policies and practices in our state and in our country. I changed my degree. I got super involved. Ended up getting a degree in social justice and interning on Capitol Hill with Senator Angus King.
Awesome.
And so that's not like, I am not the girl who thought that this was the thing that I would love and enjoy doing. And so the reason why I like to organize with the Maine Recovery Advocacy Project in particular is to teach other folks in recovery how important it is that our voices are heard, and that we have we should and deserve to have an active participation in our state and local government, in that our voices are loud and powerful. And it's been such an honor to organize. I hope with Nick in the very near future, as you come home, we will welcome you gladly into this mess. Marshall and I always call it this mess because we just show up every day and try to do the next right thing.
Yeah.
What I
Awesome.
love is that when you first started telling your story, you mentioned it's an honor and a privilege, and I feel that from both of you, and the interactions I've had with other people in this space, it's that sense when I feel that from somebody, that's where I connect with somebody, and I feel okay, good, we're on the same side. Marshall, I really admire you coming and sharing, the trauma that brought you here. Can y'all share about what just happened last week? Because I know something big happened on Friday last week, and I'm excited about what's happening and what could be happening. So could you talk about that?
Marshall, what happened last Friday?
So much stuff happened. Which one was last Friday?
It was the decrim bill, wasn't it?
Yeah. So 967. Listen, there's so much stuff going on. Since I've gotten pulled into this whole rat race, not knowing anything, it's been on and running since I got in. That's how I've learned, literally swimming with sharks. So, yeah, 967, man.
You don't learn much swimming with goldfish,
No.
There's a sword being cut right down the line, right? So some people are loving it. Some people are really not loving it. But it's okay. It's what needs to happen, change, right? So in the beginning, this whole time, all we did was we went out. We had all kinds of listening sessions, and we heard what the people wanted, right? What the people wanted. And to be able to go after what the people wanted, that's what empowers us, because it's bigger than us. Like, we're talking about what makes us so passionate, because we're stewards. This isn't ours. We came into something, and there's people that led this before us, and we're picking it up and just
moving it forward.
Passing the torch. And it's
Yeah,
awesome.
let me take you back a few steps from the historic vote, which I will tell you about in just a second. So the Maine Recovery Advocacy Project started in November of last year. As Marshall said, we did a lot of listening sessions. We got right into our community and listened to what they wanted us to be working on. And then we built out our statewide platform and launched it in January of 2020 with a organizing team of folks all across the state of Maine. In our platform, the Maine Recovery Advocacy Project stands with policymakers and policies that work to redefine and imagine justice, access, connection, and recovery. And so when we launched that platform in January, we were also at this really important moment in organizing. The legislative session was upon us. And so we decided as a team to pick up and prioritize 4 legislative efforts, 4 bills in the 130th Maine legislative session. One of them was LD 488, which is a bill to expand access to recovery community organizations in every county in Maine that doesn't currently have one. So we have 7 counties, one of mine being one of them, the capital, Kennebec County. And I'm not going to try to list the other ones, but so we just really wanted to expand access to those, right? So we had LD 488, we had LD 1175, which was a bill to lower the cost of phone calls in jails and prisons in the state of Maine.
That's a great idea. I'm getting an idea from you. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, this is actually how it probably is set up in your community as well, because in the state of Maine, every county in the state receives a commission on every minute that you're on the phone and while incarcerated, and that's kicked back in Maine, it's kicked back to something called the Inmate Betterment Fund, and that money is used to benefit the inmates. I have some qualms about that, but
my little thinking is like, yeah, all right.
what does that mean, right?
Betterment fund. That's an interesting term.
Yes. So anyway, so that bill is going to do that. It was held over this session. So Nick will have another opportunity in January of 2022 to keep working with the committee on that bill and to pass that bill. It seeks to lower the cost of phone calls. And then LD 1588, which was a bill to change stigmatizing language in the Maine statutes, the Maine laws around inmates and drug users, is how it's said in our laws right now. So it would change it to resident of a correctional facility and person who uses drugs. And then LD 967, which is a bill to change personal possession from a criminal offense to a civil violation, and instead of incarceration for very small quantities of substances, which we know is often a symptom of substance use disorder, because people who have substance use disorder need to use drugs to have that substance use disorder. And instead of incarcerating folks for that, they would be offered a health assessment or a $100 fine. And we worked really hard on that bill, and it's quite a big and heavy lift. And last week in the Maine State House of Representatives, we had a historic vote of 77 to 62, passing the House of Representatives and heading to the Senate.
That's awesome.
So it's actually going to the Senate. What are the prospects, do you think?
I have high hopes.
You have all right. I like that. I like that optimism. So Nick, when you got here to the McShin Foundation, some of the conversations we had on the back porch over at our intensive house, sitting there smoking a cigarette, talking. But one of the things you told me was we need to have something like this, meaning McShin, in Maine. And I said, well, hold on.
We do. There's
stuff going on up there too. I know there's more. And I know that if you're going back, you can help bring more and share ideas with us too, right?
Yeah, I definitely will.
So what do you think, listening to these bills right now and listening to Marshall and Courtney share here, what do you hear for yourself in this?
There's hope, hope for people like us. I mean, more hope, definitely, because there hasn't been much. I know I'm 40 years old now, and I know for the last 20 years it's been, this is the stigma, you're stigmatized so bad that you're a terrible person, you're this and that and the other, and it has changed in the last few years, and stuff like Courtney's talking about that's great for the state. We need it. We really do.
What I love hearing, though, is both Marshall and Courtney came up here and said, I didn't know anything, and somebody asked me to get involved, and look at this. I mean, Courtney's just spouting off, and Marshall's just spouting off, and right in the solution. Like, we're people who get things done. When I make a decision to do something, right, it's like when I made a decision to use, I knew I was going to find a way.
Absolutely.
I was going to find a way to get what I needed. Now, I might have had to steal something from you. I might have had to do something a little dirty to you, but I was going to get what I needed. Well, now we can use that. Maybe not do the stealing part and the dirty stuff, but now we can use that in a empathetic way to get to what we need. So, both of y'all, I think we talked about Mobilized Recovery, right? And you're both planning on being at Mobilized Recovery in Las Vegas. And so I'm not a shill for Recovery Advocacy Project, but I love the Recovery Advocacy Project, so maybe I am. What do you hope to gain going to? Well, first of all, let's tell what it is. So Mobilized Recovery is it's not a conference. We're not calling it a conference, are we? We're calling it
a convening.
Yeah, a convening of individuals with a shared purpose to make change in the recovery sphere around the country and around the world, really, because I've got a couple people from around the world too. So this is an opportunity for us to get together and to share ideas. And so one of the things that you just mentioned, like the idea of bringing down the cost of calls and that's something I never thought of, right? And I see one of our commenters up here, Patrick Jones, said, what 23 cents a minute is absolutely ridiculous. This is, what we're doing here too is crazy, right? And taxing on both the inmate and the families and the loved ones of those incarcerated. What a great idea for a bill. Like this is outside the box thinking for me. To me, it's like, my thought is, okay, we need more recovery community organizations, but let's get at the other issues, right? What other things are you working on?
So really quick, I want to tell you the story behind that bill. So that bill was not my idea, and it wasn't Marshall's idea. That bill happened at my kitchen table with my then 9-year-old son. His name is Wyatt. We all kind of fondly call it Wyatt's Law. My son is very quiet. He does not speak very often. And when he does, we all have to kind of stop and listen because he's very wise beyond his years. He remembers me and my active addiction. And he's a very, very wise child. And so his father has been incarcerated off and on his entire life due to complications of substance use disorder. And that week in particular, I didn't have the $50 that I had normally put on the phone for him and his dad to talk. And so I sat him down at the kitchen table with our lasagna. And I said, Wyatt, I don't have the money this week. And, his face got really serious. And he looks up at me and he says, why are the phone calls so expensive to begin with? And can you find somebody to help us? And so that law is actually a 9-year-old little boy's hope and dream to ensure that children, families can remain connected regardless of their ability to pay for that connection. Wow, that's really amazing. That's really amazing. And I hope to hear more about Wyatt when we meet in person. You all have told us about the listening sessions. And, in Virginia, we've had maybe a dozen listening sessions ourselves here. What has the process, been for you all to get to the platform that you put out in January? What have you done? What are those listening sessions done for you all? How have you done that? And perhaps how can new people going back to Maine tomorrow get involved in those listening sessions going forward? Mark, go ahead, Mark.
That's how we built our team, really. The listening sessions, every time we'd go out and get a listening session, somebody new from whatever town that we were having a listening session would come aboard. And they would come aboard with a new skill and a new gift. And just like it was told to me, we tell to them, pick a few people around here, around you, and pull some people in. And we have more listening sessions, and in all that, like, it's chaos, right? So, like we were talking about before, sometimes we don't 100% know exactly what's going on, especially with us that didn't ever do this before. So we're trying to follow the footsteps of what we're supposed to do, and it's practical when we have somebody that's clear, right? That has a clear message. So we learned, and everything that we do, we make a plan and we stick to it as a team. So as we're picking people up, it's the same thing. We're having meetings, 2 times a week it started, and we'd mold and get to know our team. That was pretty much connection. You were just speaking about it earlier. How did we build to get where we were? We got to know each other because it wasn't a job no more. It was getting to know the team, and we would talk about, well, how do we do the next step? Gee, I don't know. Let's talk about it. And we talk about it, and we reach out to other organizations, and it was a collective thing. It wasn't just me, rap, right? It was other people out there that wants to have the same voice, that has the same just nuts. And I'm sure she'll pick up after when I get sick.
Nope, you just did a great. That
was awesome.
That was it. Getting to know one another.
By the way, kudos to Maine for having the best me rap. I love that, right? Maine rap, M-E rap. That's, you lucked out because we're Va rap here.
Well, in the beginning, we thought about rap me and then decided that we never wanted to go out in public and say that.
Good decision.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a good-
no. We're like, yeah, we think not.
we have a couple comments that I want to address, and I think this is a huge, important discussion that we've been having, looking at what's happening in Oregon, right? So Robert Legg, who's a longtime listener and also participates with Virginia Rap, he asks about, last month we had a person from Oregon talking about what just changed in Oregon. And for those of you listening, Oregon effectively decriminalized all drugs. I believe it went into effect February 1st. So just in November, they voted on that. And so from that, they have anybody picked up with a possession charge is given the option to take a health assessment or pay $100 fine. What they're finding right now is that, and Robert says this in the comments, is that of the 450 people who've been caught or had been caught up until the point last month when we met with them, every single person has spent the $100 and not gotten the assessment. Now, when Tony was on the show the other day, he mentioned that when they put the law into effect, they really didn't flesh out what community health, treatment provisions would be, recovery provisions would be. So they sort of maybe Tony was kind of putting in, and I've read more on this since then, that putting the cart a little bit before the horse and making sure that there was something in place for individuals who actually want to seek recovery. Have you all looked at that, and how have you adapted to that with this law, or what does the law look like for Maine?
So the law is modeled after the Oregon's ballot initiative that passed. So I have kind of a couple different thought processes on this, right? So the first thought that I have is that this type of policy is very much grounded in harm reduction philosophies, in which we don't force people into recovery. We create options and opportunities. And for me, I know that when I was in active substance use disorder, there wasn't a lot of options. There wasn't a lot of doors for me. And when I was in the deepest grips of that, things were really dark, and that I needed folks to provide those moments in time where they said, Courtney, we want you to be well, and here's an opportunity to do that. And I needed that many times over, right? And so I see this as one more opportunity to say, friend, I want you to be well, and here is your opportunity. And then that over time, you build relationships with folks, and they trust that they can take that opportunity, versus criminalizing them and throwing them in an 8x10 cell, completely disconnecting them from their community and recovery process. That, while sometimes does create change in people's lives, that is not how we know how recovery is founded and grounded in. We know that recovery is grounded in the 4 pillars of the SAMHSA process, right? Health, home, purpose, and community. And those are not the things that you find in jail cells. So that's my first thought. I think we need to create opportunities, and this is one more way to create an opportunity to access recovery support services. The second thought that I have on that is that I was really astonished and super, I don't know if excited is the right word, but maybe like validated. I don't know what the right word is there, but the fiscal note on the bill in Maine, which means how much money it's going to cost or save the state of Maine, was negative $1 million, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this policy not only creates opportunity for change, but it also frees up money in our state budget to create those systems that we know that we need. Recovery housing, recovery support services, treatment, detox beds, blah, 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 blah. Insert all the other things that we need as a community. That's $1 million more by just not charging somebody with simple possession. When we know it doesn't work to create change in people's lives. And then I guess I have one more thought on this, is that we also have this massive amounts of money we have never seen as a recovery community or as a treatment industry, coming from all new sources at the federal government, at the opiate settlement money. We have in Maine something called the recovery and treatment support money, which is how we tax opiate prescribers if they want to bring money, if they want to bring opiates into our state, doesn't matter. Point is that we have this opportunity that no one's ever seen before to build systems that work while also reducing the harm that our criminal penalties and failed policies has caused to our community.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Nick, it's Billy Joe. You're doing great. I'm so proud of you for doing that. Home tomorrow. Roy Warren here. Thank you, by the way, Courtney. That was awesome. The comment went up and I was like, I had to read that to Nick. I really appreciate, Courtney, what you're saying and what's your passion on this, because I see that, these are opportunities, right? We have opportunities. We can't incarcerate ourselves. We can't put people in prison for this. And yet we can't arrest our way out of addiction. We hear that over and over and over and over again. And I often hear that from sheriffs and district attorneys, or we have Commonwealth attorneys here. And it's like, well, wait a second, but we're doing that. You are literally doing that and not solving the problem. So what I would like to pivot to here, though, is that Nick is leaving tomorrow, and he's going to get back to Maine. And suddenly, you're moving in with family. Is that what's your recovery? What's your recovery plan going forward? I know, right? You see that heavy breathing and
gonna work on it.
So somebody who's moving back to Maine needs has a recovery plan in development. I'll say that. What do you both suggest for Nick as far as getting connected into a community, and as far as Marshall, I know you got some stuff. I see it.
So you coming back home?
Yeah.
So you already know what to do.
Yeah.
Right.
I know.
Come to the recovery center. Come see me. I'm a recovery coach. Plus, I'm connected to everybody that's in this community. And this community is great when it comes to recovery. Every organization, instead of trying to fight against each other to whatever, we come together and we try to help one another to find and to empower ourselves. So all you got to do is come.
Right.
And I can connect you with everything and anybody that you need for a network. The rest is up to you to stay plugged in. And as far as everything else, this is all I do is advocacy work with Courtney and
like run a center and
run a center and it's all advocacy work. I mean, I do a lot of stuff. But the point is the community's here and it's not. There's so much stuff that can be done, and for recovery, you need to get plugged in. You know how bad we did when we were going the other way.
Yeah,
we have to do just as much. People like us, we're slaves to one thing or the other. We're either slaves to this or a slave to something.
Yep,
become a slave to recovery, man. Recover loud.
So we're going camping in July. I know Marshall's coming down. If you want to come down, I have my camp, and we're just literally just going to have a fun couple days and go fishing and canoeing and have a barbecue.
That's my cool stuff.
Yeah, Marshall's coming, so you should come down and meet everybody.
Okay.
We're going to another festival, July 11th. Everything that I go do, if you want to come do, you can just come do.
Sounds good to me.
There you go.
There you go. That's awesome stuff. I love this, right? People in recovery, it's a therapeutic value of one addict helping another is without parallel, right? From a 12-step fellowship. What are your concerns, your fears? What are your anxieties, if you don't mind? I know this is deep, right? But what do you got thinking right now that we might be able to help with?
Well, I mean, obviously I'm going back to the same place that, my addiction's been in. And a lot of the causes of my addiction behavior, whatever, why I went to jail, all that shit. But before I left, I just cut everybody out that was in, what I mean, in that I did drugs with. I just cut them out, and I know I can't be around them. But it's amazing when you try to help yourself, the people that you've had in your life before that come back into your life, you know what I mean, when you're trying to help yourself. Because when I'm in active addiction, I cut all those people out, you know what I mean, and they just stay out of my life because I'm a mess. But when you do decide to help yourself, it's amazing the support you get. It's crazy. So I mean, that's what I'm banking on that support from everybody around me. Now I got 2 new friends right here, you know what I mean?
What do you more?
And more, right? Yeah.
More.
What are you excited about?
Being clean and sober.
Yeah. All right. I like that.
I mean, you know what I mean? Jesus. Billy Joe that just commented on there too from Healthy Acadia has been amazing. She's been great. she's helped me out a lot. She's also a recovery coach, wants to help me too. Like, so, I mean, I have no excuse really. I just got to do it, you know, like you were saying, if I try as hard to stay sober as I did to do drugs every day, you know, there's no reason why I can't.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like see you've already got people in the comments. Chantel St. Lawrence says July 11th in Kennedy. What is that? Kennedy Park, Lewiston.
Listen, that's the place I was talking about. You come right down with me, right down
right.
to the park. See, we're everywhere. We're watching you right now too. We know who you are. So.
There's all over the comment section, just waiting for you to come home. That's
Well,
one thing about Maine. I know you laughed, Nate. You were like, "Oh, and Nick and Marshall know each other," but that's actually just called Maine.
It is really.
Yeah. If you don't know somebody in Maine, you know somebody who knows somebody. And
Absolutely.
I think they say like we have 3 degrees of separation around here, especially in the recovery community. Like,
Yeah,
we're tight knit.
that is amazing. And so what I love and what I hear from the conversation we're having now is I would love to have like a built-in check-in, you know, in a couple weeks, a month or so, and just say, you know, with you, you know, and you all, I mean, you know, I'd love to continue the rap conversations because, you know, that's where we're going. But as far as an individual in recovery going back, you know, back to, you know, where you came from, we'd love to continue checking in with you.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, I would love to make this like a regular thing. You know, we can talk about that off screen, but, you know, this is what I love. I love connecting people and to find, you know, where those connections, those good, you know, connections can be made. And that's what we're doing right here. I mean, a couple people in recovery, sharing our experience, strength, and hope, trying to help the next person, right? And with some really great ideas.
Yeah.
Kyle Sunday, he asks, so I kind of know, I think I already know the answer to this, but in Virginia, we have these things called community services boards. There are 40 of them throughout the country, throughout the Commonwealth, that are essentially, they're run by our Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services, and they're drop-in mental health and behavioral health services centers. And they're yeah, right, exactly. And I'm glad you're shaking your head because you don't want to deal with this stuff. And I'm sorry to everybody I know. Well, the CSBs around here, and there's nothing horrible about the CSBs, but the community service boards, they do great work. They're tremendous in what they do. It's just an added layer of bureaucracy, really. Boy, I don't want to go on too much of a soapbox on that one, do I, Justin? Yeah, I'm gonna bite my tongue a little bit on that, but. It's an added layer of bureaucracy that we could probably do without. Debbie Rosenbaum, let's go there. Let me pivot really quick. Debbie Rosenbaum, she says, Nick, so glad you found the community at McShin and now are getting a new recovery community in your state. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Right? Debbie, thank you, Debbie. Good to see you. Mike Murphy says, good luck from across the pond. All right. All right, Mike, I like that. We're going to have a guest from across the pond sometime next month. I haven't lined up the date yet, but we're going to have some UK recovery advocates on here. I'm really excited to hear what they have to say because I have no idea what's going on over there. So, you know, as we're rounding this out, man, what have you gotten from us here at McShin? What tools have you gotten that you can take back with you to help yourself and help the next person when you go to Maine?
A lot. I mean, I never, like, I had years clean by myself just out of, I don't know, spite, I guess.
Yeah, right. I get that. I get that.
You know what I mean? I didn't have any network. I didn't call people. I didn't have any program. And then when things go bad in my life, so do I. You know what I mean? That's why I'd never learned coping skills, I guess, when I was younger. The Oxycontin epidemic was right on time for me getting basically out of high school. And
yeah.
So I've learned a lot about myself coming here, like, you know, getting out of the situation I was in and getting my head clear and then going to a lot of meetings and groups. Like, I had no idea that there was things called recovery capital and all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, well, what the hell is that? You know, when I went in, but I mean, I've learned a lot about it.
It's the quality and the quantity of the thing. Oh my gosh. It's a long.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Y'all know the William White definition.
Jesus.
Love William White, totally my like hero.
Yes, saying. Absolutely.
Nick, if I can touch on something real quick, it's you're going back to Maine, and you had said earlier that you're going back to where you were in active addiction, and all those people that you cut out.
Yeah.
That's incredibly important. I talk about this all the time on the show. Like that's exactly what I had to do this second time around.
Yeah.
What I'm going to tell you is when you go back, man, don't lose these contacts that you have here, man. Stay in contact with these people constantly, daily. Stay involved with the network here. Even if you're not going to be in person, just stay involved with this network. You know what I mean? These people are the people that you need in your life, especially there. Like you're going back into the fire, you know? And I know you know that. And it's I can't stress that to you enough. Stay in contact with everybody that you know from the McShin Foundation. Every single person, not just the McShin and the whole recovery community here. Yeah. You know, this is where you've gained your foundation to stay clean.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I've made a lot of friends here, a lot of good people that care,
and they're friends, and they're friends for life too. That's one thing about the recovery community that you come to find out really fast, man. When you get friends here, you stay friends with them for life. Right. You know, you all have a common goal and a common purpose.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
So good luck to you, man.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, Justin, man. That's true. I love that sentiment. And that's like when we get into recovery and we start giving back, you know, it is an honor, you know, it is a privilege. I love that, hearing that from both of y'all. What can we do better? That's a loaded question, I know, but what can we do better?
Whoa, I wasn't expecting that one.
I want to know.
I mean, this place has been, like I said, amazing to me. I mean, the people here, like the peer recovery part of it, to me is amazing. Like I've gone to Suboxone groups. I've been to all these different things, you know, and they're doctors that probably have taken Tylenol or whatever, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm not trying to, but you know, they're telling me about my addiction and they've never felt the way I've felt probably, you know what I mean? Or the way we've felt. And the peer part here is amazing to me. Like everybody here can, you know, empathize with you, you know, sympathize, and just that helped me a lot. Like talking to people is like, oh man, I did that same shit, you know, so you don't feel, you know what I mean? Like when you go to see a doctor, sometimes they're just talking to you about telling you what you've done wrong the whole time, not like, oh, I've experienced that too, the same thing, you know. And it's like, so I don't know.
Well, we talked about that a lot yesterday when we talked about McShin's drug programs. I mean, our recovery pod programs in the jails and institutions that we're in. And so, you know, I get that. I get that a lot. You know, I came to recovery from a jail program, and it was the individuals who came in who had been in the same cell, the same cells I was in, that I resonated with. It's like, you know, if that person can find the hope and get out of it, you know, I might be able to do that too. Yeah. You know, and so that authentic connection. You mentioned doctors, and I know you didn't mean gosh, I'm tongue-tied. It's almost the end of the hour and I start getting tongue-tied, guys. But my personal physician, like my doctor, my primary care doctor, that's the word I'm looking for.
There you go.
She is a woman in recovery, in long-term recovery. And you know, that was actually completely an accident, but it's one of those amazing happy accidents. Like I can go and talk to her and I don't get judgment. You know, I can talk to her about things I've done, things I'm doing, you know, and it's like, it's almost, I won't say like having a conversation with my sponsor, but it's like having, you know, another mentor in my life that I'm able to, you know, get there and find somebody to help, you know, with what I'm going through. So look, man, I really appreciated having you as a participant here. And I'm not kidding. I really want to make this a regular check-in, you know, with you and with what's going on up there. Because I want to go home and I'd like to throw myself right in the middle of it. You know what I mean? I figure if I need to be in the middle of it, because on the outside it's probably not going to work, you know, and I need it to work. I want it to work. And I mean, it has to. So I'll be definitely seeing you guys. And
we also have a huge McShin alum family in Maine. I want to extend my deep gratitude to the McShin Foundation, because you have taken in many of our community members and helped them to get well. Actually, I just had Dakota Bowen, if you remember him.
Of course I do. He was my assistant house leader for a while. I love Dakota.
He is my partner's best friend.
I said, yo.
They were just outside my house fixing my steps. They just built me new steps. So
That's crazy.
McShin has given my family one of our family members back. And so thank you, McShin.
That's
Ben
awesome.
and I were talking about him
about Dakota
last night. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Dakota was down here, and he's been a few times down to visit, but I saw him, I think, right before Christmas. Man, I love Dakota. Yeah, he's a good dude, man. I missed him. I miss him when he left, but I'm glad he's up there and doing well. I see him on Facebook all the time. I'll reach out to him today now that we've just talked about him. So, see, that's the cool thing. Is like now, like my recovery has given me, and I love what you shared, Courtney, when you first shared that you got to be. I think you said you were a mother. I think that was one of the first things you said about recovery and what that means for you, and that's I get that. Like, recovery means today for me, I get to be a son. I get to be a brother. My sister, this is insane, and I'll talk about this all the time because I think this is amazing to me in my life. I don't have kids of my own, but my sister just moved to Central Virginia. She lives close by. She was in Texas, came up here, and she's enrolling her 5-year-old into kindergarten. And she hit me up the other day, and she said, "Would you be an emergency contact?" No, right? I know. And I'm like, yeah, of course. and that's what recovery does for me these days. It's like, not only do I get to be involved, but I get to I get to participate in my life, and I get to participate in others' lives and be hopefully a good force. And I'll tell you, I love going over to see them. Justin's been over there. I get to leave there with kids spit and dog hair all over me. And it's like, I leave and I'm like the happiest I could possibly be. It's like having a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old climb over me with the dogs and the cats. And
I think it's impossible to leave there unhappy. I mean, your family, they're just so upbeat, and your sister's just like just constantly smiling. And yeah, the vegan cookies are amazing.
Oh, I forgot about the vegan cookies.
Oh, they're so good. They're so good.
I don't know.
Like,
I know, right?
I'm not into the vegan thing, but like I could not tell that they were vegan. I just could not they were
really.
Yeah. I kind of prefer them over non-vegan cookies, actually.
I don't know about you, Justin.
I really, I love this conversation. This is just a conversation, right? I love that. This has been an awesome show for me personally. Anything from the two of you want to, Courtney or Marshall, that you want to share before we close out the hour here? Please go ahead and open up. It's Friday.
Perfect. So I want to bring an illustration to you, right? You were talking about what kind of systems are being put in place for when these things happen, right? You guys just spoke of it. That peer-on-peer, that was the system that I found, right? I had so many people locking me, forcing me, trying to get me to do things on their time. It was when people invited me to get better. Hey, well, I got another pathway for you. Why don't you give this a try, right? I was given a chance to get my voice back. So that's what we need. Not only that, like recovery, we're all a body everywhere, all over America, all over the world. Every one of us has come back from hell. We all understand something collectively. And the whole thing is just one voice, one mind. And that's what I pass forward. Remember, we're all in this together, right? So we have a fight ahead of us, and we need each other. It's our voices that need to be heard. And I love you guys. Nick, come see me.
I will, man. I will see you next week. I'll be down.
Absolutely. I ain't going nowhere. I'm stuck.
All right, man. I definitely will.
Courtney,
Yeah, I completely agree with that. So my pathway into recovery was through a drug court, and drug court was a moment in my life. It was an important moment in my life that helped to turn it around. But when I left drug court, it was most important that I had a recovery community, because there are going to be days when times get tough. And what the recovery community does is there's always somebody that I can turn to and say, hey, like, can we chat, right? Like, I literally just had one of these chats right before I got on this phone call, right? Because my mom's sick right now and I was sad. And so I'm in long-term recovery. People just think I'm going to be okay, right? But no, that's not true. Like, we always have our recovery community to turn back to, and I will be forever grateful for those folks in my life.
That's beautiful.
Absolutely.
I'll keep your mother in my thoughts as well. I'm sorry to hear that. The three of you have been amazing guests. Nick, do you want to finish us off with anything you want to share with us or share with anybody listening?
I don't know, just that I'm doing a hell of a lot better than I was when I left for here. That's for sure. I mean, I was a mess, probably the worst I'd ever been in my life, actually, towards the end of it. And I'm so grateful for this place. This place really is amazing. I mean, if anybody needs some help or anything like that, I would definitely recommend here. It's very, very good. They know what they're doing. They jam it down your throat. So if you're hard-headed like I am, and like a lot of people are in our situation, they'll make you see it. And that's what I needed. I mean, I needed my ass kicked a little bit.
Nick, turn in your phone.
Yeah.
Turn in your phone. I'm
No,
just kidding.
But no, this place is awesome, and I can't wait to come back clean and sober and get my life headed in the right direction and help as much as I can, because I know that there's, well, Marshall, down east is like, it's a mess, man, really, and I'll help any way I can. Yeah. Definitely. So
I like that.
There's that.
Develop what recovery means to you. And,
absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks again to Courtney Allen. I love that. Courtney Allen and Marshall Mercer from the Maine Recovery Advocacy Project. Man, some true recovery warriors up there doing some amazing work, and appreciate you being on the show today. Really, man, I've watched you grow for the last 28 days or so. I've seen you here, and I've really appreciated you being here. And I'm not kidding. Let's make sure we connect on a regular basis.
No, absolutely.
And whether we do it online or just, on the whatever. I mean, It's not about getting. It's about
I love
connecting.
You guys,
so,
all of you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, buddy. And
thank you.
Justin, Derek, behind the scenes. Thank you both. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Nick, good luck to you, man.
Thanks,
Seriously,
man.
Good luck.
Awesome, yeah. And to everybody out there listening and watching, I want to tell y'all, Tuesday is going to be a wild show. So what we've got, I know, right? I love it. We have got the development director of National Normal. They are also the executive director for Virginia Normal. That's the national organization for the something of marijuana law. So I forget what the R stands for. I'm terrible. You don't have a cheat sheet here. But anyway, we've got some awesome conversation about the new cannabis law that's coming into effect on July 1st here in Virginia. So we've got somebody representing somebody who fought to make sure that bill was put into place next week. And of course, Wednesday, we're going to have the check-in with the women. And then I think on Thursday, Thursday's a wild card. So more will be revealed on that. So have a great weekend, y'all. Make sure you get back and check out the shows you might have already missed and you want to catch up on. Thanks again, guys, and good night.
Here at McShin, we believe in the McShin way, which is authentic recovery support service providers, people with lived experience, bringing that experience to those who need that lived experience in recovery.
Here at McShin, we believe in many things to support our mission. We believe in women empowerment.
What I love most about what we believe here at McShin is we believe in the authenticity of the peer-to-peer approach.
Here at the McShin Foundation, we believe in giving people opportunity.
Here at McShin, we believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every person.
At the McShin Foundation, we believe in helping people reach their full potential.
Here at the McShin Foundation, we believe in multiple pathways to recovery.
Here at McShin, we believe in placing principles before personalities to help spread hope.
Here at McShin, we believe that recovery is possible and that any person seeking recovery can become a more acceptable, responsible, and productive member of society.
Here at the McShin Foundation, we believe in self-discovery.
Here at McShin, we believe in saving lives and offering second chances.
Here at McShin, we believe you can do this.
Here at McShin Foundation, we believe that we can only keep what we have by giving away, which is why we continue to help others like us seek and find recovery.